mostly everything in the world, like pop culture, random news, is Liam Payne related. Of One Direction, only 31 years old. He was in Argentina. They say he was acting belligerent. He was hanging out with his boy Niall, right? Of One Direction. I think he was in town like to party with him and go to his show and whatever. But he was acting belligerent. And next thing you know, the report is he fell off a balcony and died. Sad as hell, because One Direction, whether you're into it or not, was huge. And they were popular for a long time, impactful to a younger generation. We all lived through these tragedies. This is probably one of the first big tragedies for a younger generation. That's like someone from NKOTB or Backstreet Boys or NSYNC dying when girls and people loved these kids. And it's sad because he was a kid when he started that group. He's 31, had a lot of life left. So
I understand that not everyone was a huge One Direction fan. They have a few good hits. I don't mind. I'll acknowledge that. Why have I seen so much nasty, like inappropriate jokes about his death? More than most people that usually...
Maybe because he wasn't like the popular one. I don't know.
Like, like, oh, there's only one direction he could have gone. Or, like, man, there was just like some like nasty memes. And I'm like, the guy just fucking...
I find it to be kind of sad.
It's very sad.
I'm not into One Direction at all.
Honestly, go on Facebook. And I don't know if it's just the people that I'm friends with. And it's not usually, not to call him out, but usually our dude Vinny from Brooklyn's the main one that does this. Hey, Vinny, I expect that from him. But like multiple people have posted just like nasty jokes, which I don't think it's something to joke about.
Yeah.
And it's not, and you know me, I love making jokes about things, but this just seems cringe to me.
But if you go on like entertainment news or celebrity news, it's just all stories and theories and tributes to this dude. And he's getting a lot of love from his peers and his fans, aside from a lot of random hate. But people like Paris Hilton have spoken out saying how they're heartbroken. Rita Ora apparently broke down on stage, talking about it and singing about it. So a lot of people really sad about the news of Liam Payne of One Direction.
Yeah,
I imagine his bandmates and Simon Cowell feel terrible about
it. What's interesting is I'm seeing people on Hits One and The Pulse and TikTok and Z100 and BLI on Long Island. A lot of the local stations are like really like paying tribute, and people are crying on the air. And I'm not saying it's not sad. Of all the bands and artists, think I may have interviewed him once. I didn't think.
Did you, Dunce? My cousin was there.
I wonder how genuine the tears are.
You're a wild guy, man. I know who you interviewed. You don't even know.
By the way, the latest, I don't know if you saw the latest update, is suicide.
I mean, I didn't know that was official, but when you do the math, he fell off a balcony.
Yeah.
And there was the last reports I heard is that he was pumped with drugs and alcohol because he was so belligerent.
Yeah, and the videos he posted like an hour before were not new because they were with his girlfriend who had left, right? He jumped from the hotel balcony. Jesus.
And how
could they tell that, by the way? How could they tell?
Probably
if there was no eyewitness that saw it, how can you tell someone jumped or fell?
Maybe like reconstruct the way in which she fell, or
yeah, but I mean, like if you jumped or fell,
maybe there's a note that they don't want to release.
Maybe there's footage. I don't know.
Maybe there's footage. Yeah. I don't know.
But it all sort of made sense because he had said in earlier interviews that he had dealt with some demons and suicidal thoughts.
And you were having moments of suicidal ideation, and
I mean. There's some stuff that I've definitely like never spoken about.
Wow, there's photos of the room. It says the hotel guest was overwhelmed by drugs and alcohol. Staff was worried because they hadn't been able to get into his hotel room for several days. Looks like he destroyed the TV.
And I heard that TMZ posted a picture of his like dead arm.
Yeah,
and got a lot of backlash as a result. Like how untasteful that was. Distasteful, untasteful.
He has a 7-year-old son.
Distasteful.
Yeah,
he has a 7-year-old son with. A woman 10 years older, a musician who's 41. He was 31.
No way. It was a suicide. This kid had everything going for him. And then the obvious thought is like, that doesn't mean shit.
Yeah.
You never know. Other news.
Like Spot said, a smashed up TV, broken stuff over the place. And there's a picture of a pool deck and a hot tub area he landed by.
Yeah, that's where he jumped from his balcony.
Yeah, and people are really sort of blown away because he did seem to have it all. So that builds the intrigue of like, well, why would he do this?
Doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, so that's why it's a bigger story too. It's like, man, this kid had it all. He's only 31. That's always the story, man. People have demons. The other story. Any other thoughts, Rich, about One Direction? I mean, I know you you have such fond memories of interviewing him.
It's interesting because third floor, I mean, I don't fucking, I'm not a cop or a doctor, but third floor, I wouldn't assume that's automatic death, though, is it? Depending on how you fall.
Hit your head.
No, but I'm saying, like,
break your neck.
He had internal and external injuries, they said.
He landed on the pool deck. Yeah, man, terrible story.
You don't know the force in which he landed.
That sucks.